Good morning, my beautiful friends. This is your wake up call with Maui Paul. This is the Friday edition, and we are here for the last time this week to go through one of the I am cards in the deck. In fact, this card is the very last one that we are pulling this week, and I will be back again on Sunday evening to go through next week's cards. So yeah, we're going to have some fun today. We are going to affirm some amazing things about ourselves, and I'm going to ask you if you are the affirmation on this card. And what I'd like for you to do is to say out loud to yourself so that you can hear it, I am. Declare it to yourself. As we declare these things to ourselves, we make them more real. And so, I just want to say good morning to all of you. Let's get started by pulling this card and seeing what kind of stuff that today brings. So, today, I am childlike. I am childlike. I approach life with joy and wonder. So, I am childlike. I approach life with joy and wonder. Are you childlike? You are childlike. You approach life with joy and wonder. And I'm going to write that down in the comments. I see that some of you folks are already here. So good morning, Amanda. Good morning, Shauna. Good morning, Grant. Good morning, Brenda Jean. Lots of people around here today. I am childlike. I approach life with joy and wonder. Boom. There's something so beautiful about being a child, about approaching life this way. Good morning, Frank. I see that you are here as well. Man, there's a lot of folks here this morning. But there is something just so beautiful about approaching life the way that a child approaches life. Children are curious naturally, and a child can be anything. I remember when I was a child, I would tell anybody who would listen about all the things that I would be when I grew up. And as I grew up, as I actually became an adult, the weight of responsibilities started to really reduce my own perception of what I was capable of. And when I reintegrated that whole childlike, when I re-looked at how I behaved when I was a child, I recognized that these responsibilities of life, while very important, were also very limiting, and that those limitations were something that were often self-imposed, that I was responsible for things, but I was responsible because I said that I was responsible for them and for no other reason. And so when I started to abdicate my responsibilities in some areas, like for example the way other people felt, oh my gosh, I felt like I was so responsible for everybody else's feelings that I wasn't living true to myself, because I was so responsible for how everybody else around me felt, or my responsibility for how everybody else thought about me. How ridiculous that was. When I started to abdicate these responsibilities and really just be responsible for my own behavior and my own feelings, then my life opened up tremendously. So I am childlike, and I got to thinking about what kind of qualities do children have. And before I get into those, I just want to tell the very end of the story. I told this story on Sunday night, and that is archived on my YouTube channel, which is linked in the video description. But I will tell the very last part of it today as we bring this week to an end. So as the week comes to a close, we understand the importance of approaching life with joy and wonder to accomplish great things. We strive to adopt a childlike perspective, filled with playfulness and curiosity, turning the journey toward our dreams into an adventure rather than a burden. Here and now, we commit to fostering growth in ourselves and in others as we pursue aligned goals that bring happiness. We pledge to approach these important goals with a sense of wonder. And so, so let's do that. Let's revisit how we were when we were children, with that infinite curiosity about the world, and with the lack of judgment. Children don't judge the world; they just look at it, and then they make they put things together and see how they relate to other things. And I'll see you later, Grant. It was so nice to have you here today. Catch the end of it a little bit later after you're finished up with work. Something else that children embody is creativity. So as children are constantly imagining things and creating things and imagining and envisioning new scenarios. And that's something that's just so important for us to do as adults. We honor the creatives in our midst, and it's so fascinating to me how how we will how we will lionize the folks that are creating in accordance with their own will as adults. We'll look at the artists, we'll look at the musicians, the entertainers, the people who play with pure creativity as part of their profession, and think of them as unusual. And yet we're all creating all the time. Right now I'm creating a show. Maybe you're creating something at work. Maybe you're creating a report. Maybe you're creating a breakfast right now. Maybe you're creating an exercise program. It doesn't matter. We're always creating. We're always working. And sometimes we earn money for that work, and we mentally demarcate that work and say, oh, this work is different than the other work because there's money involved with it. And yet it's all creativity. And so let's just find happiness in that creativity. Something else that children do is find joy in simple things. I chose some bubbles for this because bubbles are very simple things. It takes a little bit of dish soap and a little a little piece of wire to make bubbles. That's all it really takes. You can go to the dollar store and pick up a bubble wand and have hours of fun with bubbles. And look at every single one of these bubbles. Each one of them is a little spherical rainbow. Children are fascinated by this. Why is it that adults think that we need to be more fascinated with refined things? Why do we need diamond rings in order to be happy when a child can be happy with a bubble? Why is it that we need sports cars to be happy when a child can be happy with a bubble? It's so interesting how, as we get to be adults, we are marketed these much more complex things and said, oh, well, you can't be happy unless you have this, that, the other thing. Yesterday, I was researching landing pages, which is a thing I do for marketing. But basically, I was just looking at copying some best practices from landing pages. And one of these landing pages was for some diet pill or some diet thingy. And, I wasn't interested in the product at all, but I was interested in the marketing. And the headline was like happiness equals, and then a whole bunch of other, things that this product provided, or that their benefits of this product. Like happiness equals losing weight was the one that just offended me so much, because happiness does not equal losing weight. Happiness equals happiness. And the fact is that it really drove home for me how much that marketers are telling us that we can only be happy if we have their thing, if we buy their thing, if we think the way that they want us to think. It's ridiculous. So let's find joy in the simple thing. Let's find joy in bubbles or in an empty box, as Frank says. Yeah, I've had so much fun with an empty box. I remember lots of Christmases where the toys were on the side and I was making a fort out of the box because it was a big box and I could fit inside of it, and it was a blast. I remember one of my happiest childhood memories is that we blew up a balloon, and myself and like 4 or 5 friends were just collaborating at keeping the balloon in the air. It was a rainy day. We couldn't go outside. We were bored. And so we blew up a balloon and we were just batting the balloon around. A balloon costs almost nothing, and yet it brought us so much joy and happiness. And that really brings me to the next thing, which is that children have a sense of play about everything. We have a sense of play until somebody explains to us that we can do something for money, and then all of a sudden we have a sense of work. And then that sense of play is replaced by a sense of work, by a sense that if we're not doing something that creates money, or that whenever we're doing something that creates money, that thing is work, and that work has to suck, by the way. There's some law somewhere that says work has to suck. And yet I found joy in so much of my work. In fact, I intentionally seek out work. I intentionally seek out things which both bring me joy and also create money at the same time. And I feel like that is a very important part of being an adult, is to bring a sense of play to everything that we do. Whenever I think that I have to do something, I am highly resistant to doing it because I have to. I hate having to. And yet when it's a sense of play, when it's a sense of fun, then it just gets done. Bringing it back to that landing page example, I I decided to approach it with a sense of play yesterday and say, well, let me just look at some best practices. Let me see what other people have done. Let me just enjoy this whole process of discovery. And then all of a sudden, an item that had been on my to-do list all week that I hadn't really been wanting to get done, got done, and it got done quickly, and it got done well. Something else that children are very adept at that adults seem to have forgotten how to do is how to imagine, how to close our eyes and daydream, how to think about ourselves in different circumstances, how to feel the feelings as if we're there. When I was a kid, I'd close my eyes and I could be instantly transported into a different world. And yet now, as an adult, when I close my eyes, I just see the backside of my eyelids. Why is that? How did I forget how to imagine things? Let's reinvigorate our ideas about how to imagine the world. Let's imagine new realities for ourselves, because until we can imagine it, we can't really achieve it. Until we have vision, we don't know where to go. Until we know what our goals are and what is important to us, we cannot make a plan to get there. And speaking of getting there, children are all about possibility. A child will say one day that they'll be a famous composer. They'll say the next day they'll be a veterinarian. They'll say the next day that they're going to space. And nobody tells them that they can't. Nobody says that they can't do that, because possibility lives in children. When a child dies, it's a tragedy. Why? Because of the possibility of the life. When somebody who's very old dies, it's not a tragedy because they've already lived their life. The one of them has a possibility, the other one does not. So let's live our lives with this sense of possibility. Let's keep this possibility alive inside of ourselves and continue to do that for so long as we live. Because let's be real, our lives have changed. All of our lives have changed and continue to change over and over and over again. Every time that I wake up in the morning, I think to myself, wow, here I am again. I can be whoever I want and I can do whatever I want. And these things might have long-term ramifications, but damn it, I figured it out so far and I will continue to. So let's just continue to have possibility in our lives. That was fun. All right. So I will be back. And I will be back at 9 p.m. on Sunday for Nightfall with Maui Paul. And we will go through yet another group of cards for the week. But before I go, I just want to just remind you what the cards looked for this week. So we started off by declaring that we are present and that we claim our power here and now. Everything I just talked about, we can only do it here and now. And then we affirmed that we are happy and that we focus on what's good. And when we are here and we are now, we get to focus on what's good. We get to look at what's good here and now and focus on that thing and build into it. And what building into it makes us enthusiastic. And when we are enthusiastic, we bring substantial energy to what we do. We have to be excited about it in order to bring energy to it. And as we bring energy to it, we construct it. We build other people up with our words and our actions. We build our own dreams up with our words and our actions. And as we construct things, we do it carefully because we are aligned and we move with purpose in our chosen direction, the direction that we picked. And as we move with purpose, we do so with a sense of joy and wonder. And that's our week. And next week, we're going to have another one. And I'm really excited to share it with you. So I want to say thank you so much for coming by and being here with me through all of this. I recognize that my life is different after I started doing this, and I sincerely hope that your life is different as well. So I'd like to know in the comments what your intentions are for let me know about them. And until then, I will talk to you tomorrow on Sunday at 9 p.m. Saturday is awesome, so I'm going to have an awesome Saturday. Have yourselves a fantastic Friday, and just remember that I love you and I care about you and that I believe in you, and that all of these words that I say, that these words are equally about you as they are about me. So let me know what you plan on doing next week. Let me know what you think that lies ahead for you, and I will talk to you on Sunday at 9 p.m. We'll have another story. It'll be a lot of fun. Until then, I appreciate you. Aloha from paradise.